Paul is my hero, y'all. I look at this little man, this little Jewish man, and I'm like, God, what is he doing that I've got to do to finish well? Last time we noticed that he was a man of compassion and humility and integrity and passion. That's all good. But today I want you to notice these key features of his life. Number one, it's a life of proclamation. In verse 20, he says, I kept back nothing. Whether you want to hear it or you don't want to hear it, I let it go. I'm accountable to Christ. I'm not into appeasement and making people feel good about themselves or even trying to make them like me. He said, no, I got to preach Christ crucified on a cross, buried, risen from the dead, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, whose blood will wash you clean. Y'all know that was my message. From day one, he says in verse 20, I didn't keep back anything that was helpful, but I noticed 3 times in these 2 verses, he mentions proclamation. Number one, anakaleo to you. I proclaimed to you. Number 2, I taught you publicly and from house to house. Verse 21, I diamartyrion you. It's where we get the English word martyr, to die, right? 3 times in these 2 verses. That's why I call point 1 of my message proclamation. For the Apostle Paul, the main thing that God had called him to do was to preach the word of God, to pray and to preach the message. And that's what we see him doing it. Well, how did he do it? Well, what was his method? His method was public proclamation and private consultation. Let me say that again. Paul would do 2 things. He would preach publicly, like I'm doing here today, but more importantly, he would live it privately.